my father. My father was a cowboy. My father was a sugarman. My father was a teamster. My father was a Siberian tiger. My father was a courser, a Texas Ranger, a lamb. My father was a mason. My father was a horse's ass. My father had a triple bypass. My father was a rat, but he bought me my first hat. My father believed in decency and fair play. My father drove the getaway. My father was a blue jay. My father drove the boys away. My father drove a thunderbird, a skylark, a firebird, an old pickup truck with a rusty toolbox, a skybird, a sunray. My father drove hard bargains every day. He was a force. My father was mercurial. He was passive, a little moody. Rock, paper, scissors. He loved me not. He stomps and hurls lightning bolts, has slipped away, passed away. My father was passé, taught me to pray. Because of him, I hoard things in an old shoebox. Because of him, I use Botox. Because of him, I look to clocks. Because of my father, I know how to oil the gate, don't own a map. Because of my father, I have no use for similes. Because of my father, I hunger for my own catalog of metaphors. This is a newer poem, the newest of the poems. It's a little bit of reflection. Sometimes when we're not very nice animals and we hurt other animals, and you see those big, soft, sweet, wet eyes of the animal watching us, and here we're kind of behaving, and you know that it's being recorded by them. And that's kind of the germ of this poem called Nasty Animal. I am not as firm around the edges as I once was, but surely the highest connoisseur of martinis will testify to the virtue of a little melt. Concrete newspaper of rolled thought, our expedient savannah butchery of the mother cow. In moments when our kind have behaved like thugs, the sentient dark eye of a feral kitten, our newly staked elephant calf, has beheld, recorded, and stored away a profound note about our nature, Chivo, more elemental and terrible than a camera recording its view of worst worldly possibility. From here, the camera could pan to the cinematographic tongue of the butterfly. Sometimes poetic communities can be very cruel and limiting.
No.
But I like to think there is an intimate and definite amount of room in poetry. This is called Nurture the Garden. The epigraph is from a Newsweek, October 2003, page 45. It's a quote from who was then the First Lady, Barbara Bush. I kid you not, the quote is, "I hate flowers, waste of money." Let the tree just outside one of the poet's windows telegraph its message across the great vault of the whispering dome and into the poet's ear. Be the poet's ear awake and the dome as clear as a stone or tile gallery, say the one just outside the Oyster Bar in Grand Central Station, or the great bulging Golcondas in Bijapur. Upon my eye picking up something, scripting the conch surf of someone else's blood, harumphing over the gift of the corsage, I hate flowers. My radio dial goes back to mountainous Atletha, my grandfather's sister, who woke every morning, braided her pigtails, elegantly crossed them from ear to ear, and pinned them at a mirror. Her fingers swept up the loose hair of her part and pinned the gentle tempests with ancient combs. Her entirety, loitering in rural heat, smelt of fresh fruit, unair-conditioned seeds drying for paper bagging and labeling for future planting, vegetables, fruit, flowers. She loved everything that came from the garden. Y'all doing okay?
Yep.
Okay. The end of this poem makes mention that the Republic of Texas was north of another Mexican republic, which did not succeed in withdrawing from Mexico and becoming a standalone country. As a matter of fact, the fact that there were two republics stacked on each other, and Mexico was very preoccupied with trying to retain the one closest to them, allowed for the Republic of Texas to kind of get away. Little known historical fact. This is called Sacred Borders. As early as 1915, someone in San Antonio was talking about transforming the old limestone quarry into a Japanese garden. In the site's earliest years, German settlers cut and carted off stones to build, among other things, the lovely Menger Hotel. Later, a small village, primarily populated by Tejano workers and their families, became popular with tourists who often stopped by the pit, by then a place for producing raw materials for a cement plant, to purchase decorative pottery, hand-woven baskets, and food. Fast forward through 26 years, and among other things, the work of prisoners, a majestic wooden-topped stone pagoda rose and became the central structure. In 1915, the city called Kimi-Izo Genju, a Japanese immigrant, if he and his wife might actually transform the place into a garden. Today, the pagoda is surrounded by winding pedal walkways, stone arch bridges, a waterfall, and tranquil pools. Lily ponds and lush green vegetation fill the garden, San Antonio's Japanese tea garden. On the onset of World War II and the growing American anti-Japanese sentiment surrounding it, the Genju family had their electric power feed shut down. Eventually, the family was evicted. Another family, the Wu family, was installed into the franchise, and the garden's name was changed to the Chinese Sunken Garden. In 1983, the original name was restored. Once, members of my family, like other Texans, took up residence in Texas, the then most northern state of Mexico. The family was relocated from Mexico to Republic, to the United States, from the anti-slavery of Mexico to the French-financed, Masonically driven dream. My lineage was simply relocated without ever moving. Contiguously next door, another river-lined republic did not last a single year.